What up, everybody? This is The Chosen Reaction, Season 1, Episode 4.
We've come a long way since the start of Cover to Cover, and now we're getting into like the meat of things.
I feel like we're making good progress.
Yeah, it was still very much a channel in progress.
Yeah.
If you guys have any suggestions, leave it in the comment section below. And if you like our content, like, share, and subscribe. And with that, we'll get underway. So in this first clip, hopefully it's a continuation of the storyline that we were on in episodes 1 and 2, and not necessarily where 3 left off.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 kind of felt out of place. I don't know if I'm the only one that felt that way, but it just kind of felt out of place to me. So
it definitely was like a left turn from the timeline that they were trying to build in episodes 1 and 2. Hopefully this episode will pick up where episode 2 left off.
Hopefully it don't go squirrel like the last one did.
Well, yeah. Awesome.
Love those.
Oh, slow down. Slow down.
Uh-oh.
What is it?
It's a fishing bobber.
So?
So, that means we're close.
Good job.
Hmm.
Hard to port! What? This way! Romans.
My flappy thing loose.
You hit a sandbar. Why are you not listening to me? I told you to go this way.
That's the way you're pointed.
All right, so
That's hilarious. I told you to go right here, guys. That's literally the way the boat was pointed.
So Peter is on the boat. They are hunting down the Sabbath fishermen.
Yeah, so Peter makes a deal to wipe away his tax debt by turning in fishermen who were fishing on the Sabbath. The reason Rome wanted this taken care of was because they didn't pay taxes for the Sabbath. So, because in their tradition, they didn't work on the Sabbath. So, they didn't pay taxes. So, Rome was getting cheated out of money. And Peter makes a deal with them like, hey, I'll help you catch the fishermen if you wipe away my tax debt.
Yeah, not only was it against Roman law, it was against religious law as well.
Yeah, so it's not only Rome, it's the Pharisees as well. They're both interested in getting this taken care of right away.
It's like double wrong.
And so Peter is now in a boat and leads them up onto a shore, up onto a sandbar. Yeah. And he grabs the side of the boat before they go up onto the sandbar, which means he did that on purpose.
Yeah, so apparently he knew that it was about to go down.
My only question is, was there carvings in the bobber that he picked up?
Yeah, there was like a writing on it. It was a marking. It didn't look like a carving. It looked more like a painting or something.
Okay. Okay, so maybe you think he maybe recognized the name on the bobber or the symbol on the bobber?
Yeah, it looked like a symbol for whatever their symbol is.
So maybe he knows the guy whose bobber it is, which kind of makes it interesting now if you turn it in like a buddy of yours, you know.
Yeah, definitely implies that.
So apparently Peter is having a little bit of conflict in himself about turning in someone who he potentially knows. Like it's not only his countryman, right? It could be potentially his neighbor, you know, a guy he grew up with or something like that. So in this next clip, the Romans are no longer happy with their arrangement with Peter. So he owes taxes now.
Yeah, they think that he has double-crossed them, which I don't think was his intent initially, but I think he's felt conflicted ever since. So he's really struggling with what he has to do.
Right. Now he has some family problems that have turned
He's
his
got
way, and
sick relatives staying at his house.
yeah, so things are not looking on the up and up for Simon Peter at this point. He is on the struggle bus. He is struggling pretty hard. And it seems like he's kind of got the Murphy's Law thing going where anything that can go wrong kind of will go wrong. And even though they're smaller things, now it's starting to just compile on top of one another. And the thing with Rome is, you know, if you get in bad with them, they can have you killed. Like they can imprison you or have you killed or have your whole family killed. So it just, you don't want to leave it up for chance like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's just in a bad way when it comes to here. And this is Andrew coming back from apparently hearing
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist, correct. And so let's get into the clip.
Did you run all the way from Jerusalem?
We're saved.
We're saved.
I saw him with my own eyes, Simon.
Who?
It was incredible.
Andrew, who did you see?
The Lamb of God. He who takes away the sin of the world. Simon, we're standing by the Jordan, and John the Baptizer pointed at the man who was walking. Simon, are you listening?
Yeah, you're just not saying anything.
I saw the Messiah today. The man all of us, including you, have been praying for our whole lives. Don't you even care?
Was he a big man?
Big? No.
Rich?
No.
So it didn't seem he could bail us out of this debt to Rome? Maybe he was a doctor? Oh. So he can't help with Eden's Ima, who's now living with us, Andrew.
That's a secret.
So pardon me if I'm not exactly jumping out of my sandals because Creepy John pointed at someone.
Creepy John.
You're scared.
Lost everything. Burnt every bridge.
It doesn't matter. The Romans don't matter if the Messiah has arrived. Anything is possible now. Don't you see?
Big things happening.
So this is classic case of my problem is bigger than your hope.
Yeah.
So Peter is in a bad way right now, and he's looking at just it's on me now. I'm out of reasons. I don't have the answer. It's all on me to fix this.
Yeah.
I got us into this mess. I'll get us out. And you know, the last thing he's ready to hear is the Messiah has come and we're saved and that he's going to take away the sin of the world. That does not fix his immediate problem. So, you know, it kind of goes back to, you know, he's like, is he a rich man? Is he a big guy?
Yeah.
Is he going to overthrow the Romans to take care of this tax debt for me? Great. Then if he's none of those things, then I've got stuff to do.
I still got problems.
Yeah. So, you know, I think this is it kind of reminds me of the, you know, you get the unwanted advice from someone when you're going through a struggle and somebody offers you, honest to goodness, offers you the best advice of your life and you can't see past your problem to take the advice. and see how great of advice it is. That's kind of it's kind of where Peter's at now. Is he's tuning out the outside noise. If it's not about him and his immediate problem, he don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's like that. Just pray about it.
Yeah,
Literally the best thing you could do, but like not what I'm trying to hear right now.
Yeah. So that's where he's at. He's done with the trying to bend the rules or break the rules or trying to end around certain laws or agreements or whatever. He was willing to apparently turn in fishermen, and do like a treacherous act in order to get his debt wiped. And now I've been through all that. I got us in this mess. I'll get us out. So
Desperate times calls for desperate measures. All right. So in this third and final clip of this episode, we have seen where Peter comes in from fishing all night. Him and James and John and Zebedee, their dad. And
things are not on the up and up.
Caught 0 fish.
Not one. Caught 0 fish.
Less than 1.
And 2 crews to do it with.
Yeah, they almost, I think if they would have had fish in the boat, they would have lost them at this point.
Yeah, this is like a negative impact.
Yes, this is bad.
Negative impact. So things are looking grim.
Houston, we have a problem.
He is coming into shore, and he sees a group of people on the shoreline, and it just so happens to be Jesus teaching to like a small group of people. They don't know who it is. He actually thinks it's Romans to begin with. As they're coming ashore, he's like, "Oh, they're already here to get me," kind of thing. But it turns out to be Jesus instead,
right?
That's definitely a plus.
Yay! Yeah, sure.
So, Jesus gets done teaching, and he's standing there, and you can tell these guys are just wiped out from fishing all night. I mean, they are beat. They're stressed. They're beat. Like their frame of mind just has to be, "I'm over it."
Oh yeah, they're beat, and he's about to get beat.
Yeah, I mean, your thing is these guys are just done. Like they're exhausted. They've been up all night, first of all, but they're just exhausted. It was work to fish back then, dragging in nets and rebaiting nets and doing things like that. It was work.
They didn't have bait casters?
No bait casters, no open faces. It was more work than it was sport back then.
Yeah, they didn't do it for a pastime.
No one went fishing on their days off.
All right, so let's watch this next clip and see what happens.
Put that down for a catch. A little farther.
Look at Andrew.
He about jumped in.
With you, teacher. We've been doing this all night. Nothing.
I'm pretty tired.
All right. That's your word.
They threw like half the net in.
Yeah, on the shore.
On the shore.
This got real.
Oh my Lord. It's gonna pull them in. It's gonna pull them in.
Let's go!
Fishermen. They're high-kneeing it through the shallow end.
Emma, bring it in! Bring it in! Hold on! Push it, push it, push it. Let's grab it! Grab it! Push, wait!
Matthew is
Dude.
blown away.
Fisher actually jumping into the boat.
Literally. You
They're
seen
like,
that?
catch me, please.
That
Who
was
needs
crazy.
a net? They just jump in your boat. Holy cow.
That is insanity.
Simon, I told you.
I told you! I told you!
Yeah, he can't even process this as fast as it's happening.
The boat, it's still out!
It's going to sink the boat.
My brother and the baptizer. You are the Lamb of God, yes?
I am.
Depart from me. I am a sinful man. You don't know who I am and the things I've done.
Don't be afraid, Simon.
I'm sorry. We've waited for you for so long, we believe. But my faith, I'm sorry.
Lift up your head, fisherman.
What do you want from me? Anything you ask, I will do.
Follow me.
I get chills, man, watching this scene. Fantastic.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
Peter's reluctant to throw the net. He's tired. He's wanting to go home. He's over it.
Yeah, he's clicking his ruby slippers together.
But he's reluctantly willing. So even though he kind of fights it in the beginning, he kind of, okay, let's just whatever. What else have I got to lose? Right? So he throws his net, and then mayhem ensues. This fish are jumping, literally jumping out of the water into the boat that they're standing in.
Yeah, the only thing that would have made it more crazy is if they would have threw their net in the sand.
Yeah.
That was just
They almost did.
like it blew me away. Like, you know, I'm always thinking of them being out at sea.
Well, they're in like 2 foot of water, maybe.
Yeah.
And it looked like they threw like half the net in.
Mhm.
They drug up an entire net of fish. The other fishermen come to help. It took all 5 of them to try and get it in.
Yeah.
And that took some time.
And there was literally, if you go back and watch that clip in slow-mo, there literally is fish jumping out of the water and into the boat.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's like a visual representation of how God's blessings will overtake you.
They go and they're dragging these fish into the boat, and then Matthew is standing on the shoreline. He's been watching Peter. He's had some conversations with Peter about his taxes. He's run the numbers and told him it's impossible for you to do this. Like you're putting this on your shoulders, but it is literally impossible for you to wipe this debt clean.
Yeah.
And you know, what's impossible with man is very much possible with God. So Matthew is now realizing, so to speak, the implication of the miracle. Now, Jesus didn't perform the miracle on Matthew. Matthew didn't gain any wealth by Jesus performing this miracle.
Right.
But he gained knowledge of who Jesus was. So it still impacted him on the inside.
Yeah, nothing was specifically done for Matthew. but it was still touched Matthew by proxy because he knew the impossibility of it.
Right. That means a lot too. I love that overtone in the way they put that in the episode as well, because sometimes we don't have to have miracles performed in our life for God to touch us.
Yeah.
Sometimes God can touch someone we know, and it brings into realization for us
Oh yeah, it
the
builds
power of God. You know?
it builds faith to see God touch other people, even though it doesn't affect you directly. Just to see God do something for someone else is builds faith.
So another thing too, after the miracle, Peter jumps out of the boat. He's a different person now. He's no longer tired and worn down, and now he's remorseful because of his actions, his previous actions.
Yeah, he left wine hands on the boat.
Yes. Yes.
Completely different person.
And he now recognizes who he is as well. He falls down and says, I'm not worthy. You don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And that's a prayer that I think, I know I did when I was saved. I know that's kind of he's repeating exactly the way I felt. I don't know if that happens for everyone that way, but that's exactly the way I felt. I'm not worthy. You don't know who I am. You don't know the things I've done. He does. He does. He knows all that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a place we all tend to reach, especially when we realize that, especially when we come to the realization of who he is. And then we're like, I'm a speck of nothing.
It is you judging you. It's not necessarily God judging you at that point. It's just you come to the realization of all the things wrong with you. And that's a real moment. Like, that is a real moment.
All right. So, final thoughts?
So in this episode, they cover a lot of ground. And this episode in general is where I actually thought the series would start. Like, you know, if you go through and you read the Gospels, I almost anticipated that this would be one of the first stories told. I actually thought it would probably be, aside from maybe Jesus's birth, probably be the first story told.
Same.
Because he's going through recruiting disciples. And I figured it's as good a starting point as any. They didn't necessarily go that route, which is fine too. But to see the first two episodes pay off in this way, this was by far my favorite episode.
Oh yeah, of course. I feel the exact same way. Episode 1, 2, and 3 was good in their own sense, but this is really, it really like checked every box for me. Finally, they're on the seashore and he's recruiting disciples. It didn't disappoint.
Yeah, I think for me, the way they laid the groundwork in episodes 1 and 2, this is so what I wanted episode 3 to be.
Yeah.
They made me wait a week for it. But the payoff on this episode was fantastic.
Right.
I thought, it could have went a whole number of ways after episode 3. But I'm glad they brought it back to this storyline. I'm glad that they paid off what they spent the first 2 episodes building.
Yeah.
For me, that was a must. If it would have been another week, I don't know that I would be as intrigued about watching the show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they got around to doing it fairly quick. The acting is pretty good in this. I mean, it's not. It's some of the dialogue is kind of here and there, but the acting is good. I mean, it's surprisingly good acting. You kind of get into that Christmas play,
yeah,
kind of mentality where it's like, you go over Christmas, you watch the Christmas play. It's not exactly this huge production,
right.
And so it's a little more acceptable in like religious movies, like some bad acting here and there.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad to see that there's really good acting in here.
It really is. I mean, Jesus, just the little small intricacies, like Peter and them's talking to Jesus initially, and he's like, "Hey man, I got no quarrels with you." Like his voice sounded tired, like, probably when it generally isn't. And like just like little bitty things like that. Jesus's face when Peter jumps off the boat and just looks at him, like just the expression that he made. It was very small and minor, but it really brings these stories to life.
Yes.
And I loved it. Loved it, the episode. By far my favorite.
So far, this is my favorite episode, and it's not even close. Episode 3 was fantastic episode. I just felt it didn't belong there in the
Yeah.
timeline.
Kinda like squirrel.
Yeah, but now you're kind of starting to see what we've come to know is actually written.
Yeah, no, it's more like the scripture coming to life, like that's really what I mean. Honestly, when I was thinking about the show and we was talking about reviewing it, that's really what I expected. Just going to bring the scriptures to life and get people talking about it and excited about it. I hope I don't sound like a hater. I'm so not trying to be.
You're a hater.
Yeah.
No. Overall, though, let's grade the episode.
Okay.
So overall, what would you grade this episode at?
Easily an A plus 1,000.
Okay.
I loved it. It checked every like I said, it checked every box for me. So I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So for me, it's an A. I'm not going to go like the 1,000 pluses, but for me, it's an A. I thought they did a really good job of like wrapping it up in a bow after the first 2 episodes. Yeah. This was a really good way to conclude the stories of Peter and Romans and Matthew and the fishermen and like everything this went down over the first 4 episodes. This was like the bow on top of the present.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like it can only get better from here. That's the way I feel. That's the way I hope.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah, I haven't up until this point. I haven't felt super pumped about like, wow, I can't wait to see next week. But I'm really excited to see where it goes from here.
So to conclude our episode, if you like this video and the content we do, guys, we love you guys. Like, share, and subscribe this. It helps the algorithm. And we love each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all for sticking around. We are a new channel, and we are getting better every week. We're hoping to continuously get better and improve on ourselves. We love you guys.
Yeah, we love y'all for real. That's not like a something we're just saying.
Right.
If you need anything, let us know. If you need prayers, whatever, just leave it in the comments. Peace.